So, Limit 1. Mermaid is banned completely. It was being abused with Nightmare Corruptor Ibli before, and locking you to only being able to link summon, and recently got abused with Orcust to special summon Orcust Nightmare from the deck. Not only that it discards from your hand as the cost, and as you know, that discarded card is much likely going to be an Orcust monster that you get to use its effect in the graveyard. Was this card problematic? Absolutely yes, in a Orcust meta. It's probably not coming out of the list anywhere soon, but it may come of after quite a lot of time when meta diverses and Orcust is gone. Still, this is a card that synergizes with Ibli that forced people to use their one extra deck slot, so they may have to put Ibli on the list to bring this back. I am talking for the future of the game. These changes are not likely to happen until very long time. This card was being played with Odd Eyes lately as one of their turn 1 options alongside Abyss Dweller or any other rank 4 XYZ monster. I believe that whole purpose of this limit is making them unable to combine it with Orcust again. As you know, Orchestrated Babel was limited to 1 and Orchestrated Release is also limited to 1 from now on. Onomat also got a limit 1 to make sure that it's not combined with Orcust. And lots of decks use Beatrice to use it alongside Farfa, which also is going to be limited to 1. Since Gagaga Revenge clashes with Farfa from now on, Onomat players will have no choice other than running 1 copy of Revenge. Konami says that it's being limited from 3 to 1 so that it can be used alongside Beatrice, which got limited to 3, but actually you could use 2 Farfa and 1 Beatrice if it stayed at 3. At least that's what I thought until I saw Tour Guide is being limited to 3. The real reason is making Onomat players unable to use this card, and also making Burning Abyss players having access to only 1 copy, making them unable to use Limit 1 cards, unable to combine with Orcust, and so on. Now that Release is limited to 1, it is clashing with Babel. Babel is the one that's going to be played and overall much needed than this card, so I think this card won't be seeing any use from now on. Finally, some buff for Karakuri. This is one of the most important card in this deck that searches any Karakuri card on normal summon. I wish we had more unlimits for this deck, but nonetheless, this is also good. Not much to say here. I believe this card was limited after the previous KC Cup when Mermaid, Atlantean decks got advantage of this card. I believe it should be fine at 2. A little touch to Speedroids. This is the main normal summon that's a 3 of in a Speedroid deck, but deck would be just fine with 2 cards anyway. Are Speedroids a good deck? Sure. Are they top meta worthy? Only time will tell, but I think they'll be just like how they was before. Tour Guide is a bundle card that we can have only 1 of, but this change is made so that it doesn't clashes with Farfa, so that you can play it in Burning Abyss. Silver Rocket to 3. Konami's statement here is spot on, but when you used this card's effect to banish Orcusts, only 1 Mermaid or Odd Eyes deck's Raging Dragon to make their skill useless was well deserved. This wasn't going to do anything anyway besides taking Limit 3 traps from the deck, but as for myself, I don't think they are needed anyway. Making Burning Abyss decks unable to use Limit 3 cards. Just that. This is obviously the best starter of Orcust decks, and any other machine deck that wants their monsters in the graveyard, such as Kristrans. Putting this to 3 takes Limit 3 cards from Orcust, since it's your only starter now due to Nightmare Mermaid is gone. Token summoners like Phantom Skyblaster would go into Nightmare Phoenix, Cerberus and Than into Mermaid, and Mermaid summons Orcust Nightmare from the deck to get the combo going, as you know. This is a card that is quite good for any synchro deck out there. It got limited after the previous KC Cup when it was used with Stardust Synchrons. Great to see its limitation is eased, but Synchrons still won't be able to use it since they already have limited 3 cards. One of the most important cards in Odd Eyes decks as their Pendulum Searcher. You want to play at least 2 copies of this card, so this limit makes them unable to use limited to 3 cards, but since they weren't using Scrap Recycler due to their normal summon being Skull Crobat Joker, I think they will use Orcust Engine even more from now on. Finally, we have the Unlimitations. It's great to see Gucus coming back this quick. This card is available at only 1 copy, but it was clashing with Gookie Suprex and Finishing Move, which hurted the deck a lot. Now that only Limit 3 card is Suprex, Konami is giving them full power besides using Limit 3 spell traps, which is a pretty smart move, I'd say. Final Unlimit for the Kristrans, which makes them a full power deck. They were a top-tier deck back in the day, and it'd be great to see them returning on the competitive scene. They may actually have a good matchup against Orcusts, since Crystron Quarion Gandrax can banish their graveyard resource and give them a hard time. But we much likely need more support for that to happen. Finishing Move is also coming off. This is a one-of in most of the decks, since it's searchable, but as I mentioned before that it clashed with Gookie's other Limit 3 cards, it needed to come of the ban list for us to be able to use it. This card shouldn't have been limited in the first place, but they did so for hitting Salamangreat, Code Talker. It's quite good for any deck that uses Cyber's monsters. We may even use it with Marincess monsters in the future. I guess they'll add it when they decide to go for Vrain Season 2 and start introducing new characters, since that's the time Blue Maiden got introduced with Marincess cards. Nice support for Raid Raptors, but they'll need more than this, or any other winged beast deck such as Harpies. I was running 2 at Harpies anyway, and will continue to do so, but with this change we can run limit 2 cards in Harpies again. Seer is unlimited so that it doesn't clashes with Beatrice, and since they got 2 cards nerfed already, it'd be too harsh for the deck if this card stayed at 3. This is one of the most important cards that you want to mill, since it special summons any Burning Abyss you want from the graveyard. Another buff for Raid Raptors that allows them to use limit 3 cards with this card in the deck. I'm worried that this card may get abused with Orcusts. I hope they won't. And we have one final unlimit. Misjudge only saw competitive play during the time Desperado Barrel Dragon was meta, but Black Salvo is a better normal summon than this card, so this isn't worth playing at all, considering the fact that it's also not a Dark Machine. We also have some skill changes. A little buff to some skills and a huge nerf for one of the most important ritual deck skills. Change is pretty much that skill guarantees a Red Eyes spell trap instead of a random Red Eyes card. Red Eyes skill actually become a lot better since you definitely want a Red Eyes spell trap, specifically Red Eyes Insight, so that you can mill a Red Eyes monster you want and search for any other spell trap you need. Only change to this skill is that it now also adds number 39. Utopia to your extra deck alongside other cards. This is a good change since it makes this deck somewhat cheaper. Finally, they actually made a good Blue Angel skill. As you know, players were using Playmaker's 3 effects skill with this deck, since it was a lot better. This way we can actually play it with Blue Angel from now on, which is very nice. Master of Rites 2 got a huge nerf that's totally out of nowhere. Currently, there isn't a single ritual deck that is competitive, so I assume they're going to add some serious ritual support very soon. It was being activated automatically at the start of the duel, but now you have to lose 1,500 life points and return 1 card from your hand to your deck, which is way too much. So, skill changes are going to happen very soon with the next update and Forbidden Limited List. Implementation is going to take effect on June 28th. Overall, I'm satisfied with the ban list besides Master of Rites 2 nerf, but only time will tell whether was it necessary or not. They could free more old cards from the list too for Dark Magician, Cyber Dragon, Ritual Beast, etc. But let's see what they bring in the near future. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you liked this new style. I'd like your feedback on the comments section. You can show your support by liking it and subscribing, if you feel like it.